Hi, Moguls. Welcome to part two, Joey Isaks. We just asked the question about how the media portrays sports betting and where is sports betting going to be in the next 2 to 5 years?
So the media portrays sports betting in this like fun and get rich and anyone can do it and the media kind of pretends that they know what's going on, and they like to highlight big bets and they like to highlight their plays, but the truth is you're getting information from people who don't really bet at all or make a living from betting, even if they pretend to. And it's just a dangerous slope. But I equate it almost to CNBC. It's like they like to use all these like catchy phrases and buzzwords, and at the end of the day, they're not people who've gotten rich themselves from betting. They're making money from the media side. So tread lightly. And where sports betting is going is, I guess, to the moon. It's really just gaining popularity every day, and I don't think there's really uh, the ceiling is huge.
Yeah, especially when when the world opens back up, when hopefully COVID, it gets better and we're able to go back into the sports arenas. It's nice to be in those like football stadiums and those basketball stadiums, and it's really fun to be in there with that crowd. And like especially if you have your bet on your DraftKings or whatever in your phone, you're like, yoo-hoo! And
Yeah.
yeah, and like you said, one of the most popular sports is football. Mhm. And like, yeah, and like, what are things that they are most popular, like of a beginner, like say, because we have some girls listening, but we do have more, about 70% guys listening. But if a girl wanted to bet on the sports, like what would be the easiest thing to start and about, like that would be something achievable?
Yeah, I mean anything's achievable on like a one-off basis, and if you're just going to bet one game, your chances of winning it are basically pretty much like almost 50-50. It's just when you start betting like day after day after day, it's gonna catch up to you, and you're not gonna win. But I would just keep it really simple. Just honestly bet who you think is gonna win.
Okay, great. So like if you like a team, like we just had the Super Bowl, it was Tampa, and just like, oh yeah, I want Tampa to win. So
Yeah,
just yeah,
just
what
bet
you
Tampa. I think that the media, like, they love the word value and those things, and it's nice to get value, and you need value if you're gonna bet 1,000 plays in a year. But if you're gonna bet 2 plays a year, which is the Super Bowl, maybe a couple other games, then it really just doesn't matter that much, and you should just bet who you think is going to win.
Okay. So that comes to being is it a, would you call it a professional sports person? Like what makes like a person does this every day if they're a professional sports
I
better?
think that I think the easiest thing is that if it's their income, their sole income or their main income, maybe even. I think that, not to get into tax, I think if it's over 40,000, you can declare it in taxes as a professional bettor. But yeah, if you don't work and you bet for your income, I think then you're a professional sports bettor.
Oh wow. So you have to make 40,000 a year to be a professional sports bettor. Wow. How
Or
much
it's a hobby, I think.
or
But I
hobby?
also think, I also, not to be cynical or whatever, if you can't make $40,000 a year betting sports, then you should get a job. Like, not in the nicest way I can, but it shouldn't be that hard. If you want to be a professional bettor, you really should be making more.
So you should, and that would take what? The skill to know like what team is going to win, or just how to bet the different, you said props. They're called props. Like,
Yeah, I mean everyone's gonna have a different strategy, but it takes. I mean, you do have to win. It takes, what kind of skills does it take? Things like discipline, things like you have to have good information, you have to have a good network, you have to know how to build also the business side, which is getting accounts, either playing on your accounts or giving the accounts to someone who wins, and not giving too much percentage of the accounts to people. There's certain things, like it's called a red figure, which you see a lot, making sure that you stay on top of that, which is if I win $100 on an account and then the next week lose 100, the person who gave me the account shouldn't get any money until the account is in the positive territory. So things like that, the business side becomes a lot harder than winning. Winning is the easiest step. The business side, which no one talks about, is actually pretty difficult.
Oh, wow. So if a player is a professional sports bettor, like what is the average income for like say like the top sports bettors?
I can't speak for anyone else, but I would assume that the big people are making over $1 million a year.
Wow, that's awesome. So you can make and listen, moguls, you got to be good. Did you hear them? You can't just do like one or two a year. I mean, and you also have to like, if you're not winning and you're just not good at it, you probably want to get out of it because, he said, so you can make $1 million plus being a professional sports bettor. Speaking of, what is the difference between originators and non-originators?
So originators are the people who come up with the plays that get pretty much hammered on a daily basis, and move the market. So basically, originators will have their own model and say, I have Duke that should be 8-point favorites. The line comes out and Duke is, let's say, 4-point favorites. So you bet Duke. And non-originators will work with originators to basically get them the money down. So if you're an originator, you go to DraftKings, let's say every day, and you're betting $500 a play. All of a sudden, you start to think, I might have something. I think I have an advantage, and they start limiting your bets to, you can only have $100. So you work with people called movers, who will be like, you say, I want to get more than $500. Can you help me? Can you get me $2,000? I don't have any way to do this. And they will do it for you. So the originators take care of the actual plays, and then the movers bet the games for them. So it's a kind of a partnership.
So you have to know these people because, I'm new to the sports betting thing, just learning from you. So you said it was a solo sport with your little app, but you said that there's people that originators and non-originators that you play with. So you have to have a team of people to work with.
Well, I mean, if you're betting sports as a living, you probably have at least, I want to say, 75 accounts.
Whoa!
So you don't just have DraftKings; you have 75 accounts, which is called outs, is like the term. So you have 75 outs, or you're an originator and you give it to someone who hopefully has that many outs or ways to play. Yeah.
What have you won the most, or like what sports have you won the most money? Are we allowed to ask that? Like, was it basketball? Was it what?
Baseball, probably. Probably on there's a couple props that have been really good the last few years in baseball. One of them is strikeouts. And then there's people who will be like, how can you make much money on strikeout props because it's so small? But shouldn't care about those people. But strikeout props are good for people just starting. And then, yeah.
Wow. So baseball, and is there statistics like what other like is the most popular for winner, like people winning?
I mean, everyone can be better at certain things than other people. So maybe baseball's my best, and some people only do football, or some people only do basketball.
What about
a sport like basketball? Sorry.
Yeah, a sport like basketball. What?
A sport like basketball, you can get a lot of money down, and so it's easier to stay kind of secretive about your bets. So I've never really seen someone beat, let's say, NBA, because they can do it without really making much noise about it. While a sport like, let's say, baseball or strikeout props, if you beat it, you're going to need help from other people to get the money you want down on it. So people see other people's plays easier.
Okay. So what about golf? Is golf a highly bet a sport that people bet on?
It is. Golf is highly bet, and it's a lot of people bet it really big. I don't. I've not had much success in golf. I think I went 0-5 this week. Pro-Am. But yeah, you can bet who's going to win the tournament, and you can turn a little money into a lot of money, but most of the time you're going to turn a little money into zero.
Oh. And then what about boxing?
Yeah, same thing. I don't bet boxing, but the big fights do generate a ton of volume. A lot of betting on the big fights.
Yeah.
And UFC as well.
Oh, okay. And like, is that something that you worry that someone gets paid to go down on that kind of a sport, or which one is the would you say is the least where you can figure that someone can be paid to change the outcome? Would that be baseball or basketball?
Any major sport, it's so hard to actually fix. Vegas and everywhere in general has great technology to catch things like this. Like they know exactly how much should be bet on each event, and certain red flags are raised when they have the demographics down. So if like all the bets are coming from college kids for a college game, and it's big bets, like not just $200, but like it'll rate enough to raise a flag. They have technology that will catch things like that, and it's just very hard because you also have to pay, let's say, a person a lot of money to do something that might not be beneficial to them. So it just doesn't happen in my
Okay.
opinion.
Well, that's good to know. And what about tennis? Is that like a favorite one to be betting on?
That's a huge international sport to bet, and that's an individual sport, so it's definitely easier to fix because it just takes one person. Not and it's so easy, but there's stories about it, and especially in the lower level tennis, the Challenger Tour, you're gonna hear stories of you just don't make much money playing the Challenger Tour. So if someone offers you $100,000, which is basically a year's salary to lose one match, then it's definitely tempting. But they have their ways of catching these people.
Oh, okay, so that's nice to know because if you're betting, you want to make you watch movies, you read books, you
Yeah,
hear things,
you
but
want, you want the integrity. I have calculated it on how much it would cost to fix a sporting event, and it would cost more than you can get down on it.
yeah, because if you win, you get all the sports deals and all the notoriety. And yeah, my friend actually is friends with Andre Agassi, and he would just tell me all these stories how like Nelson Mandela sent them a private jet, and they went to Africa, and he just went on and on all these amazing stories. And I'm like, wow, to win at tennis, is really our sport just becoming a big sports star. It's huge. And
Yeah,
wow, so it's very interesting to be like, so you are pretty much like the equivalent of a sports star. You're a betting star, and that's amazing. And you're in the 1 million plus a year league. That's just incredible. And but how long did it take you? Like, you were talking a little bit about it. How long did it take you?
definitely not. I'm not one of the people making $1 million a year. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
But sorry, I misheard your question.
So how long does it take to really get in there where you're making like the 40,000, 60,000, 100,000, 200,000 a year to be that professional?
If you're very smart, it could take you a year. But most likely you're looking at something that's just never going to happen unless you have a very good mentor. I would say you need someone to pretty much come in and be very nice, and it doesn't happen unless you really know what you're doing.
So some mentor is very helpful. Oh wow, this is just really. And I want to go back to like because I'm just so enamored with Can we talk a little bit more about the Ritz Carlton, the Baccarat again? So you were telling me a little bit, if we're allowed to talk about it. It was over a month setup to bring the player to London. So you actually had to fly him over there and house him. So was he like driving around Bentleys and living in a posh place? Like how much did y'all have to prop him up to be believable that he was this big spender?
We had to get him clothes, that's for sure.
Like a pretty woman, you took him in there and like ching ching, tailor him.
It was definitely a full-time job, just making sure he didn't go back to Malaysia because he was definitely lonely, and we had to have his passport, and there was definitely some fights involved. And I know a couple casinos rejected him, but it took a while.
So it took like a month.
For sure.
It took a month for them to. Now, was that legal that you were able to present him as a person that had money? Like, are you allowed to, or am I allowed to ask that question? Or because it's very interesting.
Yes. Don't believe so.
Okay. So identity. Well, because I'm a writer too, and I have like names like Sir Herbert Sneakies for my children's book. So, and a lot of people these days go on social media don't want to use a real name because someone can. So yeah. So did he talk English or what was his voice like? Like, hello, hi, I'm a sports bettor. Did he have to work on his accent like those?
Sports. No, I think in Malaysia, English might be the most spoken language.
So he didn't have to work on his nouns and vocabulary as upper crust Harvard grad.
His English is I'm assuming it was. His English was great, and just a very well-spoken guy. Very enjoyed my time with him.
I love this story. So did he? What kind of car did you have him that he was able to drive? Did you pimp him out in? I guess.
No. I think this was right before Uber, so it's mostly taxis.
Oh, okay, yeah, wow. And did you have to set him up in a posh place so that his residence was somewhere like very posh, upper crust?
He was staying at a hotel. I don't remember the hotel's name,
but it was probably a 5-star. Wow, that's an incredible story. So, have you gone back to Baccarat? Are you allowed to go back to that hotel?
I haven't played. I've never been involved in Baccarat before or after. I don't really understand the rules, to be completely honest, but it's just one of those things that we thought we had a way to make money, and it got a little out of hand.
Nice. So what adventures can people look forward to? They can keep. Where can people, find out what adventures you're up to? Are they allowed to follow you? Can you share some social media or anything?
Joey Isaks at Twitter. I guess not. That's an email, but it's just Joey Isaks. JoeyIsaks is my Twitter handle.
Oh, nice. So everyone, you can follow Joey and learn about his escapades and his. Do you share your betting? Like, do people ask you questions and stuff?
Yeah, people ask me questions. I love interacting with people because that's like my interactions for the day with humans, especially in the pandemic. So anyone can ask away, but I don't share really my bets. But if anyone asks, then sure, I'll share my bets happily. But it's just one of those things that I would prefer not to share because people will then, if it loses, blame me, and it's just a headache that I don't need.
Yeah, like it's all good when they're winning, and then when someone loses money, it's like they made me do it. And I heard a tragic story. So everyone, this kid couldn't get a hold of someone and say Robinhood, and Robinhood just has like emails. So and he committed suicide. So do be careful. Just
that his balance showed negative $730,000.
What?
That's what happened. He was doing options trading on Robinhood, and his balance got to negative 700. It was just wrong, but he couldn't reach anyone to have them explain what happened. So.
Oh my gosh! So people, please,
you never know.
Please be careful. There's always a solution. There's always a solution. You know what I mean? And so because we're Girls Guide to Investing, we really encourage you to invest in yourself. Invest in becoming smart, listen to people, what they did. Some people had mentors, some people were naturally gifted at math, and sports is their thing, art is some people's things, but you don't have to be an investor. You don't have to invest in stocks or startups. You might just start your own business. You might just find a great job and get in sales. So just do your due diligence, be careful out there, and be safe. And I just want to say, Joey, it's been amazing to have you on the show. I enjoyed it so much. I really would want you to have your own podcast. You're so fun and so delightful talking to. It's been really a joy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll be able to come back on soon.
Oh, yeah, we'd love to have you. Thanks for coming on. And moguls, be safe out there. And remember, do your due diligence. And, don't invest unless you have extra money because it's COVID right now. Rent first. And then, if you have a little extra, then you can dabble. If that is your decision. But if you lose, don't blame us. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.